I tend to avoid certain ones. So. Happy Sunday, everybody. Well, welcome to the Christmas Summit Podcast, the official broadcast and podcast of the Christmas Aficionado YouTube channel. I'm here once again, live, hoping maybe everyone's watching and giving us some feedback. From funny moments from Elf, Kevin's Home Alone, television Christmas episodes, what are the funniest Christmas moments from movies and TV? I mean, there are so many of them. And this list is not something I came up with. This list came from my guest, Robert Nicholas. So joining me, Robert Nicholas from Behind the Bells podcast, bringing his deep holiday knowledge all year long, giving you deep dives into your favorite holiday classics and what impact they may have on the season. I asked Robert to give me a list. He said, I'm going to tell you what I think are the essential 7 Christmas funniest moments from movies and TV. And at the end, we're going to see how his list compares to mine. So, Robert, welcome back to Christmas Aficionado. It's been a little while.
Yeah, Merry Sunday. I know it's been a little while, but I always have fun when I'm chatting with you. Except today, because I know my list will be funnier than yours, but I don't know if that's up for us to decide, if that's going to be up for everybody else watching to decide.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if who will agree or disagree with that statement. For example, Pepper Tree Villa is watching us. Hey guys, how are you? Pepper Tree Villa live every Monday night at 8:00 Eastern. Make sure you check that out. And he says hey to Robert. So Robert, I don't know if you've met Pepper Tree Villa, but they're great guys, and
I love you
their
too.
sister. Yep. So. We're going to talk a lot about Christmas movies, what's funny about Christmas movies, some of the funniest moments. We each had a list. Oh, one more question. Doug and I are listening as we bake Christmas cookies this afternoon. So that's awesome. What kind of cookies? Let me know in the comments because I'm curious. But Robert, we've talked about a number of things together on this channel. Obviously, the first thing is a couple years ago, you and I debated whether or not Santa Claus the movie was any good. I mean, we both love it, but I think there's moments where we both go, it's not that great.
And ironically, that's what does make it. It does make it great in a lot of moments, considering that its kitschy strangeness does make it much more unique than a lot of other holiday stuff that will come out.
Yeah. So, talking about Santa Claus the movie, I want to let's give some people a little bit about your opinions and your thoughts of things. Before we do that, pumpkin thumbprint and chocolate crinkles today, amazing. Feel free to mail me some. That would be amazing. Overnight them. That would be great. Okay, so. We're talking about movies here. We had a whole video about Santa Claus the movie, whether it's good or bad or what are the good and bad parts. I am working on, last year I did a special countdown in December. I counted down the top 25 Christmas specials of all time. And this year I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put out a video every day starting December 1st through December 25th. And I am doing the top 25 Christmas movies of all time. So the list is going to be even harder to put together. Let's get a little thought of how you think. So if I'm going to pick the top 25 movies, and I asked you to tell me a movie that everybody loves that should not be on my list, what would that be?
Okay, well, a movie that a lot of people love that personally I don't think should be on that list, and please don't kill me, but A Christmas Story.
All right, well, we're going to end this live broadcast today. All right, now go ahead.
Okay. So the reason being is that I think it's much more of a personal stance than anything. I saw the movie at the exact wrong time when it was at the height of its like comeback popularity, when it was going from cult status to mainstream at around the mid 2000s or so. And once I saw the movie, I was actually kind of underwhelmed by it. I was expecting something a lot funnier, and for some reason, it just didn't really click. I wasn't really as on board with Ralph as a character. I just didn't think he was that likable. Now, I will say though that I've seen it a couple more times since then, and I have at least come to appreciate certain moments of it, and even its design, because it's one of the few movies I know that really knows how to replicate that Norman Rockwell style that the movie does a fantastic job emulating.
Mhm.
And each time they've tried to continue that one, it's never really worked. Though I do think a Christmas Story Christmas, its sequel that was put out on HBO Max during the
Mhm.
pandemic, was actually not that bad. I actually really ended up enjoying that movie.
Okay. So you probably lost a bunch of people that said, "Oh, we don't like Robert's opinion on this," but that's interesting. I did not expect you to say Christmas Story. I'm gonna tell you, spoiler alert, it's gonna be on my list because it is one of the best Christmas movies of all time.
And
But
that's totally fine.
yeah,
I do get why a lot of
I
people, including yourself, would love that movie.
that is you have an opinion that I think you're right. I don't think a lot of people agree with, but I'm I think you caught me off guard. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, like I said, opinions. Everybody's got them. Everybody knows what they like to watch, and I think that's fine because we've got a whole bunch of other opinions here to discuss tonight, including the main topic of today's show: Essential 7 Funniest Christmas Moments. Now, these moments can be from movies or TV, mostly because I had a lot more TV ones than I did movies. But
Really?
Robert, yes, but Robert, why did you choose this topic? 'Cause I opened it up to anything you wanted to do.
Okay, so I'd say if anything, whenever I think about back to my past Christmases, including the stuff I
Mm-hmm.
watch, I always think that there's actually a lot more comedy than drama when it comes to my own Christmas life.
Mm-hmm.
Considering that every time I've done Christmas with the family, one thing is guaranteed to go wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I feel like more people aren't as willing to admit is more of an occasional occurrence, like something burning or a present that's not as thoughtful or so. But
Mm-hmm.
there's still an element of comedy to that that will always make me remember that moment a lot more, which for me is actually almost the moral of one of my top 10 Christmas movies of all time, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And since no matter how much everything goes wrong, Clark still came out with the memory of that. And the way I see it, the memories are really the more important things about the holidays, even if they're a little more not maybe not negative, but let's just say things that just didn't go the way that you thought they were going to go.
Okay. You got a comment on your T-shirt. Love the
That's
Disney
right.
News T-shirt.
Yeah, it was actually a Space Mountain short that I had worn when I went to Disney World a little earlier this year, which, spoiler alert, I had a fantastic time.
I've never been to Disneyland. That's the one thing I have not seen. I mean, I've been to Disney World and everything, but I'm going to get there one day. I just have not done it yet. So
Yep, we come out to California, I will give you a personal tour of the park.
that sounds good. And then and Pepper Tree Villa lives out in California too. So they're gonna make me cookies and take me to Disneyland as well. So I'm just telling
Awesome.
them. I'm telling them that right now. They'll probably say yes, of course, Joe. All right. Well, anyways, let's talk about the essential 7 funniest Christmas moments. And Robert, we're going to start with your list, and we're going to count down 7 to 1. Uh, why
Okay.
7? Because that's just a fun number to choose from. So your first is Love Actually gift wrapping scene.
Yes. Now, I will say that I actually did not watch Love Actually until a few years ago, which was actually my grandmother's favorite movie. And for a while, I thought it was just going to come out as another like typical romance comedy. But I actually ended up really liking the movie more than I thought I would. And even though there's a lot of moments that I did like, the gift wrapping scene for me is hilarious because it is something that is totally at the fault of the character that Rowan Atkinson, as we see here, is talking to Alan Rickman. To give you a little more context, Alan Rickman's character, who's happily married, is having an affair, and right now he's also buying a gift for the woman he's having an affair with as his wife is shopping in the same store. Rowan Atkinson happens to be working at this jewelry counter where he offers to gift wrap it for him, to which Alan's like, oh, sure, go on. And then, of course, as the gift just gets more elaborate with more things going into it, whether it's more lavender, more sand, more chocolate, just all these things that are going into the bag as Alan is just seeing his wife and he's telling him, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And yet Rowan Atkinson simply says, quick as a flash, sir. And yet it just never seems to end. It is tense, but it's just so warranted. And yet I think a lot of people get into the situation where they obviously want to do something a little extra nice, but only to realize that the add-ons are just not as needed. And yet he doesn't even end up picking up that same gift because by the time his wife shows up, at that point he's just dismissed the whole thing and has been able to hide everything later on. But again, what makes it hilarious though is just Rowan Atkinson's just little smirk, which if you've seen anything Mr. Bean related, then it kind of feels like an extension of that right here. It feels a little more refined in his one of only 2 scenes within the movie.
So it has been a very long time since I've seen this movie.
Okay.
I have seen it. My wife made me watch it a long time ago. It's I think she loves it too. It's one of her favorites. So, funny story on Love Actually, just because I just thought of it. So, I know she liked the movie, and this is maybe 20 years ago, maybe not so 20, but I went to our grocery store. And I saw that they had the DVD of it, and it was near Christmas time. And I thought, oh, my wife likes that. I know she doesn't own it on DVD. I'm going to buy it. So, being the good husband, trying to think of things that she would want for Christmas, I went and bought it. I got in line to buy it. It's the only time I ever got carded to buy a movie.
Carded to buy a movie.
And the movie was Love Actually. Yeah, I got carded to buy. Out of all the movies I've bought over the years, some of them are just clearly, you probably should card somebody to watch this. Not Love Actually. I mean, Love Actually is rated R, right? I believe so.
And yet I can only imagine somebody at the store thinking, Nightmare on Elm Street, going through. Okay. Caligula, going through. Love Actually. Whoa. Can't let you go. You got to make sure that it's appropriate for you.
It is, yes.
Your ID.
So I got carded buying Love Actually. I watched it. I've seen it once. So I'm not as familiar with this scene. I probably should have went back and at least kind of glanced through it. I mean, it's Rowan Atkinson. I get Mr. Bean's humor. I know he's not always Mr. Bean, but there's a little bit of Mr. Bean in every performance he's ever done. Maybe. Yeah. So, no, I'm at a loss because I haven't seen it in a while, but, it's Rowan Atkinson. I like him. I think he's really funny. So I'm going to take your word for it that it is really funny. Pepper Tree Villa says we're going to Disneyland next month, and, they'll be there for a personal. I'll get a personal tour from them. So maybe we'll all go together and ride Space Mountain. So,
hey, I'll take Pepper Tree too.
Sure. All right. So number 6, which now the fact that you would not put this on your list, but it is the 6th funniest scene in a Christmas movie. Explain yourself, Robert.
Well, as I said, I've come to appreciate the movie, and there are moments from the movie I do find funny. And one of them does happen to be the famous, well, quote unquote, fudge scene from A Christmas Story, which, again, for context, the family has just gotten their tree. The car's tire blew out, so the dad is out and about changing it. And when Ralph goes to help him, during something that goes wrong, we hear from him very slow fudge, and with the fantastic look that his dad gives, and we hear the narrator saying, "Only I didn't say fudge. I said the word." Mm-hmm. And the mom's reaction to hearing the word that her son said not only makes it worthwhile, but the soap in the mouth, and then her interrogation of Ralph of where she heard that word, which only goes further when Ralph, knowing that he's heard that word come from his dad hundreds of times a day, for some reason he throws one of his friends under the bus, forcing the mom to call them up to explain, causing the mom on the other end to say, "We probably got that word from his dad." To which she's like, "No, she heard it from your son." To which, over the phone, we hear that famous, "What? What? What?"
He smacks him upside the head. I mean, yeah, it's
every kid has probably been in a situation where they said a word that they shouldn't have and have endured some kind of punishment.
Yep. I mean, I clearly remember my first swear word I said in front of my parents, and it wasn't that bad, but I did not get soap in the mouth. I got a talking to and told not to say that ever again, and but it was, it happens. We can't say the bad words here on here. We're trying to be good so that we don't get demonetized.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to say those words. I will say that with my first encounter, I unfortunately accidentally said it in school, which got me sent to the principal's office. I got a phone call with my parents. Became a much bigger deal than it probably should have, but I guess that's the nature of cursing in elementary school.
Mine wasn't bad, so I'm just gonna say mine was hell. I said what the hell, and they were like, they understood that. Now my daughter, I'll tell this funny story because it's hysterical, and they're looking back on it because she's an older teenager now. I was doing something with the oven. I think I was cooking something, and I think something started to burn. And she came in, and I pulled it out of the oven. And my daughter said, "What the F?" And I was like, I looked at her, and I was like, "What?" She was younger, and I said, well, actually, no, I take that back. I told the story wrong. I said, "What the F?"
Oh,
and so she came, but she came in the kitchen and she went, "What is F?" And I was like,
"No."
I was like, "Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't get me in trouble." But that looking back, it's hysterical. But I that was fine. But I did not put soap in my daughter's mouth. I would never put soap in my daughter's mouth. I think that's disgusting.
Good to know.
Yeah, but no, this scene is hysterical. I think one of the things that I'm probably going to be defending a lot is after a while, scenes are not as funny as they used to be because you've seen it so many times. You don't laugh. I feel sometimes that people have watched the same movie over and over and over again. Maybe they chuckle, but I don't know how sincere it is anymore because you've seen the movie. Like, I never laugh at Christmas Story anymore because I have seen it 1,000 times. And it's a great movie, and I'm going to watch it over and over again, but I don't watch it to laugh.
Yeah, and if you watch any kind of comedy over 1,000 times, chances are there's just going to be more jokes that you more appreciate than necessarily continue to laugh at over and over.
Yep. So Lee says, hey Lee, how are you? And hey guys, what's up? from Christopher. So, cool.
Let's do it.
All right. So, number 6 is A Christmas Story. So, number 5 for you.
Mm-hmm.
Frasier, high holidays. Martin, high, and Niles acting high.
Okay, so first I gotta ask you, did you watch Frasier in the 90s?
I watch Frasier even now. I love Frasier.
Okay.
Yeah, I am one of those people that can watch Frasier over and over again. So,
Okay, so to put it into context, Frasier has a lot of holiday episodes. In fact, when Tis the Podcast covered it, their episode went on for a while because there's so many. And High Holidays, if I think correctly, was their last special. And coincidentally, maybe the least holiday of the bunch, because the story that we're talking about doesn't have much to do with it. However, because it's hilarious, I had to put it on this list. So anyway, for a little context, within the episode, Niles, who's Frasier's younger brother, essentially is convinced that he just was never seen as rebellious enough. So to try to prove them wrong, he essentially manages to get a hold of a marijuana brownie or a pot brownie so that he can adjust it later. Of course, the problem is that his father, Martin, unfortunately, finds the brownie, doesn't know that it's filled with pot, consumes the whole thing, and manages to replace it with a real brownie so that Niles doesn't know that the other brownie wasn't eaten. So essentially, we're going to get a scenario where while Niles is walking around just acting high because he thinks he's high, Martin, unfortunately, is just returning to the place, laughing his butt off because you already know that everything has hit his system, just to get the door open on him as he goes, "Hi, Niles!" With Niles going, "Funny you should say that." As we sort of get this whole like duality between these two guys who, with one being stoned and the other one not, and each scene just gets better with Niles cooking up some fancy dish, what he thinks is pot food, while he comes in saying, I gotta introduce you to the best thing that's ever been invented: barbecue pudding chips. And then at one point he even goes, "Why am I putting the chips in the pudding? The pudding should just go into the chips." And then we just get more and more of that. There's a scene later where he comes out after Frasier comes back from a date. Mark comes out nothing but his boxers, to which he's like, "Father, where are your pants?" He goes, "In the fridge. I had a reason. Fridge pants."
Frasier is one of the best TV shows ever. I love it. I watch. I put it on. I have I have my iPad in the kitchen with me whenever I'm cooking and doing stuff, and usually I just put on Pluto, and I hope to hell that they're showing Frasier episodes at that point, and I'll just watch whatever, because I've seen it. I've seen every episode 1,000 times. On my list, it did not make it.
But not a single moment where Frasier made it?
I had a Frasier moment, and then I cut it because there was too many. I had too many options. So probably the episode "Merry Christmas, Mrs. Moskowitz," which is the one where Frasier, this woman tries to set up her daughter with Frasier, thinking that Frasier's Jewish. And then Frasier's not Jewish, but he pretends to be, and so does Niles and Daphne, and they're all they're all pretending that they're Jewish, and even Martin comes in by asking questions instead of answering everything with a question, and then at the end, the woman and Mrs. and her mom leave. And then Frasier and Martin have like this argument where they're pretending to be they're still being like pretending to be Jewish almost, and they're having this argument. It's not exactly PC, but it's hysterical. I do love it. I think a lot. I don't think there's only like one, maybe I think there's like one Christmas episode I don't care for because it's not that great. I can't remember which one it is, but they're all great. I love all of them. I will watch all of the Frasier ones in a row because it's fun. They're just fun
Oh yeah.
shows. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I try to go through a round of binging the entirety of Frasier every now and then, and it was just last year that I went through my fourth round of binging through the entire thing.
yeah,
And chances are I'll be doing a fifth round in another year or so.
yeah. All right, number 5 is Frasier. So number 4, The Muppet Christmas Carol, Lighting the Lamp, Not the Rat.
Okay, so this one was a little tougher because I love The Muppet Christmas Carol. It's a movie that is guaranteed to get at least one watch every year, sometimes two. And I was almost inclined to simply say all the scenes featuring Gonzo and Rizzo because they are all really funny. But I felt that was a little unfair for this list because that's essentially taking an entire plot as a funniest moment. And so to be fair, I had to instead put in my favorite moment within the light the lamp, not the rat.
Yeah.
And so for some more context here, for this retelling of the Christmas Carol featuring the Muppets, and of course Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge, Gonzo plays the role of the narrator, Charles Dickens, and Rizzo the Rat just plays Rizzo. He's just there for the food, as he says.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're still in the past, outside of not Fezziwigs, but Fozziwigs, Rubber Chicken Factory, Gonzo's lighting the lamp while lighting everything else, and then, while not really watching what he's lighting, accidentally lights Rizzo's tail as he immediately starts shouting, "Light the lamp, not the rat, not the rat! No, put me out, put me out, put me out!" And of course, that just leads Gonzo to just giving him a little push into the frozen barrel below him into ice cold water, with him responding, "Thank you, you're welcome."
So, okay. So when I present my list, I want you to feel free to just say, "Oh, that's not funny" or "not great" or whatever. I love this movie. I think it's wonderful. I agree with you. The Gonzo and Rizzo scenes are great. I don't know if they're the funniest moments for me.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I love the Muppets. I will watch every Muppet thing ever put out. I don't know if I would classify this as the funniest moment. Maybe it's, again, going back to what we talked about. You've seen it 1,000 times, and it's not, you don't laugh every time now. But what did and my list is a lot of memorable moments where I remember laughing my ass off. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah. And again, this movie what year did this movie come out?
It was 90, it was either 92 or 93. It was one of those years.
So, I mean, it's been out for a long time, and I know I can't tell you, I can't remember when I first saw it. I mean, it's one of those movies, and maybe I laughed and found this hysterical. Muppets are amazing. They're great. They're always fun. They're funny, but as the funniest moments, I think this is the first one I'm going to go, no, maybe not
fair
as much.
enough.
Yeah.
Because I know there are a lot of great moments in this movie that, again, shine because of the Muppets, but there's also a lot of moments that do shine because of Michael Caine, who's playing it as straight as possible, which, of course, makes it even funnier.
I think if you would have put Michael Caine on here, I guess he's not necessarily funny because he's really playing it seriously. And, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's a thought. I have to think about, if I had to choose a Muppet scene, what is the funniest scene that I would put on here? And I think I have to think about that for a minute. While I do, let's just a couple comments. So our favorite Christmas moment on Frasier is when Frasier opens a new package of gifts meant for his son, only to find that the cranes in Maine have got his living brain. Yes, that's the episode where he doesn't have a present for his son. I was trying to think. What's his son name?
Frederick.
Frederick, yes, Frederick.
Yeah.
And Frederick is coming on an airplane, and so they go to that toy store, and they find that scientific toy store, and they found the brain.
I know at one point Niles gets a helmet saying, well, what is it doing? He's like,
Yeah.
it's knowing it would do my life fine, but we need to find another living brain.
Yes. And in the thing that he wants is called a Robo Geek. I remember that because I was like, I was like trying to understand what that was, and Martin ends up buying it for him and stuff. So, that's a great episode too. I think we probably could talk about Frasier a lot on this, and maybe you and I will have to do that.
Want
Maybe
to
we'll
start a new
cut.
podcast?
Yeah, well, no, but maybe we'll do an episode, a broadcast. I can't do any more podcasts. Maybe an episode of something about Frasier. You and I will sometime in the future we'll figure this out on here and
Well, I'd be down
maybe
for
have a
that.
discussion for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I will say that too. That with the Muppet Christmas Carol, though. Oh, looks like we got another message.
yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol's one of the more faithful adaptions from Dennis.
But there is a lot of truth to that because there is still a lot of language in there that is verbatim of the original Charles Dickens novella, even though there's still a lot of the Muppets language here. And on top of that, what does make the movie work is that Michael Caine is still playing it straight to the point where even in a regular Christmas Carol, it would still be seen as a great performance.
Mhm.
And the other scene I almost thought about putting on this list was actually a little earlier when the other rat accountants are, of course, are complaining about how cold it is and how they even say our assets are frozen. To which Kermit asks for coal for the fire. To which he only repeats, or only Ebenezer says, "How would you like to be unemployed?" And yet they just break out into a random luau. To which Kermit says, "Well, I think you've inspired them again."
So Dennis almost agrees with you. Same scene you were just talking about. Funniest scene I think is when the rats ask for more coal, and when rebuffed, they're in Hawaiian outfits. Heat wave.
This is my island in the sun.
Yeah, you know what?
I will,
I think
because I
that
will admit to you that was my friends that actually occasionally just repeated that out of random because that always made us laugh.
I'm gonna come up with. I think that scene might be one. Because I said I was gonna try to figure out what's the funniest scene from that movie, and I think that's gonna be hard to beat. The rats. They were always pretty good, and that's why. I mean, like I said, Gonzo and Rizzo together are great. I just don't know if it's the funniest scenes, but let me think about this.
Fair
If I
enough.
could come up with something at the end, I will. But number 3 for you,
Mm-hmm.
Home Alone, Marv and the Tarantula.
Yes. Okay. So if anybody's listened to my podcast, I did a whole episode where I went through my top 10 favorite Christmas movies of all time. Not the ones that I consider the best, but my personal favorite. Home Alone landed at number one. And this is another movie, like you were saying earlier. The more I watch it, the more I don't laugh as I used to as a kid. Even though
Mm-hmm.
this movie does have a special place, because Home Alone is the first movie that I personally recall seeing in theaters. I was only 3 when it came out, but I still have very fuzzy, very vivid memories of sitting in a crowded movie theater and watching this one. And even though there's a lot that I could say about this movie, and even though, yeah, as a kid, I have loved all the traps, which these days don't get as much of a laugh, all except for the tarantula sequence, which has been played off as just this random MacGuffin that was hanging out in Buzz's room
Mm-hmm.
until, of course, Kevin destroyed everything when he was trying to get his brother's stash of cash. And thankfully, when the bad guy, when the wet bandits essentially almost get Kevin, he manages to find that tarantula, overcomes his own fear of grabbing it, which still gets kind of an icky feeling out of me because I really don't like tarantulas, even though I'm not necessarily phobic about spiders.
Mm-hmm.
But we then get the kick of it all of Daniel Stern having it sitting on his face and giving out one of my favorite like girlish screams coming from a guy like him,
Yeah.
and then just to top it off, just how that tarantula falls on Harry. Marv does the whole like "don't move," and we get the one time where Harry's genuinely afraid of Marv as poor Harry just gets whacked in the chest with that crowbar. Just
It's
not even getting the spider, but letting that little tarantula get away as he's wondering, where is it? Where is it?
so Daniel Stern scream is amazing in that movie. It really is. It stands out as a moment, especially because he's got the iron like embedded into his head. You
Yep.
know, I love Home Alone. Home Alone is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. So is Home Alone 2. Um, I think even, and this is one of those movies that I could watch over. There's a number of scenes that I would laugh. I don't know if I would necessarily put this one at my top funniest moment from Home Alone, but it's there. It's up there. It's definitely up there. It's the scream. If it didn't have that scream, I think it may not have worked as well. But
True. Which
yeah,
fun
yeah,
fact, I know that they only did a few takes on this because Daniel Stern would only allow a few times with the spider actually on his face, and apparently he had to mime the scream because they didn't want to scare up the spider, even though it wasn't necessarily poisonous.
yeah.
I have heard though that any kind of bites by tarantula are excruciatingly painful.
You and Dennis are is like 1-1 because the story you just said is the same thing that Dennis just posted. Scream with
Did Dennis
ADR because he
watch
would
the
actually
episode of
scream.
Home Alone? 'Cause I just put that exact same information there too.
And Carly is watching. Hey, Carly, how are you? This is a great moment. So yeah, people do like it. But let's see if they like number 2,
Oh,
Blackadder, Christmas Carol,
yes.
Blackadder's Revenge. Um,
So
Tell
first,
me
I got to
about it.
ask you: have you watched anything Blackadder related?
I have. I don't find it funny.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
So let me defend that before I give you a reason. There's some British comedies that I absolutely love. Absolutely
Okay.
love. This is one of those ones I have never understood. Why
Anything?
I know I'll be honest, I don't sit and watch every single episode. I've seen this Christmas episode before. I do know Robbie Coltrane's in it as Hagrid, way before he becomes Hagrid.
He's so essentially playing a proto Hagrid here as the Ghost of Christmas.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll be honest with you. This is one that I don't find funny. So
Okay, so first of all, I'm sure that's got to be revenge for me saying that A Christmas Story is not on my best list.
you're never gonna live it
Um,
down. So come on.
Well, okay. Well, second of all, for those that don't know Blackadder, I'm sure most of you know Mr. Bean, but Blackadder is essentially the Yang to Mr. Bean's Ying, with Rowan Atkinson essentially talking the entire time. Except throughout the series, he plays this complete jerk of a character who never gets his way because his own arrogance clouds any proper judgment. But with the Blackadder Christmas Carol, it's essentially the classic Christmas Carol in reverse, where we actually have our Ebenezer Scrooge or Ebenezer Blackadder starting off as the nicest man in town, even though everybody takes advantage of him. And yet, when Robbie Coltrane, as the Ghost of Christmas Present, or just the Ghost of Christmas, comes in, he starts showing him flashbacks of his life, which is really just flashbacks to the old show. To which, by the end, he decides, "Oh, I don't want to be nice anymore. I want to be the biggest jerk on the planet." So the next day, he essentially puts on his classic clothes from the show and just starts getting revenge on everybody, whether it's his assistant or even the Queen of England, who comes in that he does not understand as the
Mhm.
real queen, and just totally just says the meanest things to her, calling her Miss Piglet. And then yet, by the end of the day, when he's having his own Christmas feast, his assistant tries telling him, "So that was the actual Queen of England?" And he was like, "It can't be. Whenever she visits, she always hands out her royal seal." To which he's like, "Oh, you mean this one?" Which gives off that great, like,
Mhm.
look that Rowan Atkinson does give, knowing that he's probably going to get his head cut off or something. But
Mhm.
that to me is just, I guess you could say that's more of a praise on Rowan Atkinson's ability to just give out the right reactions when it
Mhm.
just comes to just working off of somebody else. Since with Mr. Bean, he essentially was showcasing how good he was on his own, but with the Blackadder Christmas Carol, we get to see him just work off a lot more other comedians, including a then unknown Hugh Laurie, who's also in there.
Mhm. Yes. So this is around the same time period of my favorite um, British comedy is The Young Ones.
Oh,
I love The Young Ones. Um, there's some similarities here, you know. Hugh Laurie's on Young Ones, so but they never had a Christmas episode. So unfortunately, we can't cover them on the channel. But the one thing I always loved about the Young Ones is when they made fun of the Queen, and they,
mm.
so like I remember, it's been a long time since I've seen this one, but I probably chuckled at those things because I always found that when the British were making fun of the Queen and stuff, it was really well done. So yeah, I mean, I'm this is not my favorite, obviously my favorite, but I know there's a lot of people. British comedy is very hard to, unless you're from Britain. When you're an American watching these things, it's kind of like, I get it or you don't get it. And there's not an in between. I think there's a lot of people that either really love something or they just like, no, that's not for me. So
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to even assume too that may be one of the bigger reasons. Mr. Bean happens to be one of the few British comedies that most Americans know because it's actually not a bad way to segue into other British comedies just to see how they would do with everything else.
yeah, Mr. Bean though is so American. I hate to say it like that, but um, well, one, it aired so much on HBO and all that kind of stuff, and that's how people know who Rowan Atkinson is. Um, but yeah, I guess it's this is very subjective, obviously.
Oh
Christmassy
yeah.
Ted, the Father Ted Christmas episode is great. Is that a BBC show?
Yep, it's another classic comedy that unfortunately I haven't seen yet, but I have seen clips of, and it's also really funny.
Okay. I'm going to be honest. I'm not as high up on my British comedies as I should be, and that's
Because
that's my fault.
I usually tend to get Father Ted and Father Brown mixed up because my wife is a huge fan of the Father Brown show. I mean, she
Okay.
loves anything BBC related, so I have secondhand knowledge from my wife.
So let's see if you can redeem yourself for me, because number two I wasn't too fond of, but your number one, your funniest moment in all of Christmas movies and TVs for you.
Hmm.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Clark's bonus, and his reaction.
Yes. Okay. So, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation ranks high on a lot of my favorites lists, and clearly it ranks high on a lot of other lists for good reason. It is
Mm-hmm.
a really, really funny movie. It's one of those movies that they ever do any rescreenings of around the holidays in theaters, I will always go out and watch it. Because every time I see that, even though I'm sure the theater is filled with a lot of other people like myself that have seen it tons of times, the movie still gets them rolling, and it still makes me laugh in a lot of spots, even though there's still a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I would love to tackle in another episode. But anyway, the part I'm talking about revolves around another MacGuffin that was discussed in the movie. The fact that Clark was hoping for his bonus because he wants to give everybody a pool for the holidays. And come Christmas Eve, we finally get that moment where even after a whole night that's gone wrong, when he finally gets his bonus, hoping that was going to be the thing that saves everything, and yet all he gets is a membership of the Jelly of the Month Club. Which first we get that great line from Brandy Quaid as Cousin Eddie saying, "Clark gets the gift that keeps on giving the whole year." And then at that point, everything that just has built up so far causes him to take a couple of drinks of what I assumed is some spiked eggnog, and we get this great monologue that I'm sure that we can't repeat here because there's a lot of language in there that
Yep.
somehow still made the cut of the PG-13 movie. But essentially, he flips out, demanding that he'd love to see his boss in a big bow, which is delivered upon later, and yeah, it just goes on this like almost 2 minute rant against his boss, giving him every single name in the book that I could think of, before simply asking at the end, "Where's the Tylenol?" And yet, this other fun fact too. For the longest time, I always thought this was something. This whole moment might have been improvised by Chevy or ad libbed. until I got a hold of the original script that actually did say that every word he says is actually written on the script.
Yeah.
So it was all penned by the classic John Hughes, and Chevy Chase knew how to deliver that classic moment. And let's face it, we've all had this moment where we felt like blowing up. And even though I would never blow up in front of my own family, it just so happens that I feel like it's. I mean, we're laughing at him, but we're also in that position where it's like, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. I'd be just as pissed too.
So, one, I want to see you do that in front of your whole family. But two, Dennis says, I feel like the monologue is just Chevy Chase in real life. I think it's more of John Hughes understanding Chevy Chase. I think that's probably more what it is. But I also, Chevy Chase, that's his thing. He knows how to be angry and mad, and he does it really well. He does it in a number of movies. It's a funny scene. I have a scene from National Lampoons on my list. So
yeah, but now this is another movie that I actually had trouble picking a moment. But if anything, this to me also just exemplifies why Chevy Chase is so good at playing Clark Griswold.
Yeah,
and of course I also covered on my Home Alone podcast that that movie's director Chris Columbus was supposed to direct the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but after spending some time with Chevy Chase, he had to go to Hughes and say, I can't deal with this guy. Do you have something else I can work on? And yet it's like, well, I got this other script that I'm working on called Home Alone, and of course, history makes itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that is your list. So just to review before we start mine.
Okay.
Number 7 is Love Actually, the gift wrapping scene.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, the movie you hate, A Christmas Story fudge sequence. That's gonna be your thing from now on. So just FYI.
No.
Number 5, Frasier, High Holidays. Number 4, The Muppet Christmas Carol, Light the Lamp, Not the Rat. Number 3, Home Alone, Marvin the Tarantula. Number 2, The Blackadder's Christmas Carol, Blackadder's Revenge. And your number 1 funniest moment is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Clark's bonus and his reaction. So if you are watching along and you like, just remember his list. At the end, we're going to see whose list everybody likes better. If there's enough votes, then we'll declare the winner. And the winner gets nothing except for saying that they had a better list. So, which, bragging rights. So
you don't have a Jelly Month Club you can give somebody?
I'll send you something. Maybe I'll figure out something. But all right. So my list, before I go through it, because I don't want to say this every time, I chose moments that I remembered seeing live for the first time and how I reacted to those scenes. I think for the most part, most of these are my thinking is original. They may not be the funniest scenes, but when I first saw this is the stuff that cracked me up.
So this is essentially almost a nostalgia-based list for you on what you found the funniest the first time you saw it or heard it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything how new some stuff is. I mean, there's some stuff that's newer. It's not necessarily 80s stuff, which just tends to be what, where I stick in a lot of things. But, yeah, so let's go through the list. You tell me what you think. So, number 7, Elf. You smell like beef and cheese. So, when I saw Elf, I saw this at the theaters. And Artie Lang, who plays the Santa Claus in this scene, is so fantastic. Where he's just annoyed by Buddy the Elf. And Buddy the Elf is just like, you sit on a throne of lies, which is also a really, really funny scene. But then he goes, you stink. You smell like beef and cheese. And I'm just for some reason, that one line has always stuck with me. I think it's hysterical. I don't understand why that makes Santa. I guess Santa Claus doesn't eat beef and cheesesteaks. I don't, I don't know. But they fight in there, and you think the kids are going to start crying, but they actually cheer on Santa, as they're fighting. It may not make me laugh as much anymore, but I love this scene.
This is actually a good scene. I'm glad you picked this one because this was another movie I almost considered putting on my list because even though "You Smell Like Beef and Cheese" is a good line, I actually like the line "You sit on a throne of lies" a lot more because that just feels so random, and yet that line has been quoted so much that for a while the Regal Theater in my town did this whole thing featuring quotes, and one of them was the "You sit on a throne of lies," and
yes. Artie Lang, Dennis, Artie's Lang's beard is just made of cocaine. So if you don't know who Artie Lang is a comedian. He was on the Howard Stern show for a long time. He worked with Norm Macdonald a lot. He's on Mad TV. But Artie also had a very bad drug problem, which he was very always open about. But he makes him the perfect Santa Claus for this because knowing that, and knowing how much hard of a hard life he had even before that, makes it funny that he's playing Santa Claus. So yeah.
I mean, considering that the Gimbals here is clearly not paying a lot to have an amazing Santa, since they clearly got a guy who just slapped the beard on himself and just came out performing for the kids, even though he is at least a step up from like the Christmas Story mall Santa there, because this guy I do feel like is trying to keep his job as Santa by staying doing the whole Santa Claus voice. Yeah. Even though we've seen a lot of other quote unquote, bad Santas out there that aren't really trying to keep their job, which maybe this guy, maybe Artie Lang would have kept his job as Santa had Buddy the Elf not debearded him.
Yes. So let's just go back. Pepper Tree Villa had a comment that I moved on before that I could get to it. My personal favorite is when Clark is hanging off the side of the house with a gutter-shaped torpedo of ice going flying into the neighbor's house and destroys their bang. And Olufsen, I guess that's the name of the stereo equipment. I'm going to be honest. When I was a kid, I did not understand that the icicle went into the window. I remember clearly not understanding why it was destroyed, finding it funny, but and then as I got older, I was like, oh, when she goes, why is the carpet wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot.
So yeah, that's a great scene. We're going to go on a tangent. We'll keep talking about these scenes, but that is a funny scene as well. But I didn't get it until I was an adult. But anyways, my first option is Elf. You Smell Like Beef and Cheese. Although sitting on a throne of lies, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have put that one there first too, because I think that's just an amazing line to say something to somebody. But it's the same scene. So the whole funny thing is we're not picking out a specific line. So
it's an umbrella scene.
Yes. So that's my number 7. Number 6, I think people are going to maybe disagree with me on. South Park, Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Pooh reveal. So I was in college when South Park debuted. College kids loved South Park. It was unbelievable how dirty and raunchy it was in the 90s. You have a Christmas episode where a piece of poop comes to life and sings a song and writes Noel on the mirror, and Kyle's parents catch him holding the piece of poop. I mean, I know it's dirty, stupid humor, but I lost it watching this because South Park was huge. Like when it debuted, that's what college kids did. When it was on, we sat and we watched South Park because it was unbelievable how raunchy it was, because it was something that had never been like that on TV, especially as a cartoon. And yeah, when Mr. Hanky, and I could do the Mr. Hanky, who goes, "Oh gosh, Cow, you smell a lot like flowers." I mean, of course you smell a lot like flowers because to a piece of poop, everything smells like flowers. Um, but yeah, I love this special. It cracks me up. I probably don't laugh as much of it as I used to, but I remember loving it. Dennis is on board. He goes, "Howdy ho."
Oh.
So
Well,
what do
I
you
mean, I
think?
will. Well, okay. Well, I think had it been 16, 17, I definitely would have had this episode up a little higher. Even though out of all the holiday specials that South Park has done, the Woodland Critters episode I actually find to be the better of the special
Hmm.
because that one actually gets a little more laugh out of me, especially with the narrator in that episode singing that very generic "It's Christmas, it's Christmas, it's Christmas, Christmas." Uh, but otherwise, this is still a solid episode of it itself, given how the rest of it revolves around the Christmas pageant, which is trying to remain as non-offensive as possible to the point where it's just nothing but a blank stage filled with kids just wandering around,
Hmm.
and yet it takes this magical turd to save the day as soon as Kyle's already been committed to the nut house.
Yes. So I know it's I should be as a 49-year-old man I should be say that's not as funny as it used to be. I'm sorry, it is. It just is. So number 6 is South Park, Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Pooh. Number 5, Home Alone 2, Smooching with Cliff. So
Uh, yeah, this doesn't surprise me. This one almost ended up on my list. We almost would have had the same joke.
yeah, so I love Home Alone. I love Home Alone 2. I know that Home Alone 1 is a better movie, but I will watch Home Alone 2 over the first one every time. The reason B is the scene in the hotel when they are chasing him, leads them into the room, and he turns on Angels with Even Filthier Souls, I think is the name of the
Mhm.
movie.
Yep.
And he has them talk to it, interact with it. It's done. It's so unbelievable, but it is so funny because Tim Curry, his facial reactions to this, even Rob Schneider, but when he tells him you've been smooching with everybody, and he says all these names, and then he says Cliff, and the old man is named Cliff, and they all look over him, and the woman has a face like disgusted, like I can't believe
Oh
it,
yeah, and
and
then Rob
Cliff is
Schneider
like,
also is
he's
doing
like,
that.
no, no, it's like, it's not true. I laugh still to this day at this scene. I shouldn't. I don't know why it is this funny, but I remember sitting in the theaters watching this movie. That scene came on, and I loved it. And I think, other than also the gags of hitting the sticky bandits with all of the stuff that should just have killed them, the bricks and everything, I laugh so much at this stuff. And yes, I am 49 years old, and I probably shouldn't, but it was a movie that I clearly remember. But this scene, I put it on the promo because, I had to choose something to put on the promo. But this is the best scene in Home Alone 2.
Oh, it absolutely is. Even though it's also the one that shouldn't really work because it really relies on hitting the movie in the exact right point to get this whole moment going and just knowing how to rewind and fast forward Angels with Filthier Souls at the right time. It still works.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just said, because of Tim Curry, who always brightens up anything that he's in. And it just happens to, because even though I do love the way he pronounces a lot of random words earlier, like when he confronts Kevin earlier in the lobby, telling him, "We get a limousine and a pizza, Compliment to the Plaza Hotel, which also gets a laugh out of me. Though I am a little, because even though the smooching with Cliff line is great and just everybody else's reaction, I'm actually surprised you didn't also bring up that one part where as soon as he was asked to get down on your knees and tell me you love me, he just does that whole,
That's the
I
whole scene.
love you.
So it's I put the line, but it's the whole scene. The whole scene is what I'm referencing here, because think about the first one. The first one is he does it to the pizza guy delivering the pizza. It's funny. This is 20 times funnier than that from the first.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Especially, I think because that he just simply ends up fooling a whole group of adults rather than just one, and the fact that so many of them are just falling for this does make it even better. That it's just this 12-year-old kid that's just screwing with them.
Yes. So that's my number 5. You obviously agree that it should have been on. Do you find the tarantula scene funnier?
Honestly, I think I do, because I got something about just funny screams or shrieks that'll really get me. Even though the scene is really funny, and ironically, like you, I actually did watch Home Alone 2 more when I was a kid than I did the first Home Alone. I think something about just the use of a tarantula and then just seeing poor Harry get whacked for nothing over that still gets maybe just a point above this.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just a combination of just the right amount of lines and the right sight gags. Even though this is a much more verbal moment, it's still hilarious, and I do like it.
So I saw a meme. I don't know if this is true or not, but if it is, it's hysterical. Someone asked Macaulay Culkin which one he likes better, Home Alone 1 or 2. And he said, I like Home Alone 2 more because I made more money. Which, if he said that, that's hysterical. I don't know if he actually said that. You can't trust any quotes on the internet. But, yeah. So, Home Alone 2.
It wouldn't surprise me just because I know this. In order to make this movie, essentially, his dad was talking to 20th Century Fox and only let him do Home Alone 2 under the condition he would make that other movie, The Good Son, which I don't know that many people that even remembers that movie compared to Home Alone 2.
Well, it's not a Christmas movie, so we're not talking about that. So.
True.
Yeah, so. All right, number 5, Home Alone 2. Number 4, Everybody Loves Raymond, the Christmas present of the DVD porn machine. Do you remember this? Did you watch Everybody Loves Raymond?
I did, but it's been a while since I've seen this episode, so I'm going to need a refresher on what happened exactly.
Okay, so Ray wants to go golfing, and so he decides that the best thing to do is to not only get a crock pot for his wife, Deborah, but also get a whole bunch of cooking utensils and pans and stuff to butter her up so that he can go play golf. What he doesn't realize is that she also got him some great gifts. He got him a DVD player and a whole stack of DVDs. Now, the year that this came out, that would have been an amazing gift for me. I would have loved that gift. When he's holding it, Marie, his mom, says, "What is that? Like a hi-fi?" And then he goes, no. And she goes, "Is it for watching pornography?" And Deborah replies to Marie, Yes, Marie, I got Ray a porn machine." And she goes, "I don't like that, Deborah." Like, I crack up. I mean, the dynamic between Deborah and Marie was always the best part. The way that they fought over Ray for some reason. But this line where she constantly, asks about if this is for pornography, which I guess it could be, depending on what movie she got him. But yeah, I love Everybody Loves Raymond has just like Frasier, has an amazing number of holiday episodes, some great Christmas ones. They even got some great Thanksgiving ones and a few Halloween ones. But this is one of my favorite of all time.
It's been a while since I've seen a good chunk of Everybody Loves Raymond, but I do recall a lot of the Christmas episodes, and I can't believe I forgot about this movie because it is funny. I think it's because I tend to think, when I think of the Christmas episodes and Everybody Loves Raymond, I tend to think about the toaster episode where the parents have to get back the toaster that they didn't realize had their name engraved on it. And
well, there we go. Everyone's reading your mind. I love when Ray gives the engraved toaster to all his friends and family for Christmas, and Ray's parents traded in Bloomingdale's for a coffee maker. That is another great episode. My favorite moment is when they are returning that toaster, and Frank is telling Marie to lie, and so they're like, they return the coffee maker, and she's like, what, is there something wrong with it? He goes, no, we never used it. It's a piece of crap. And she opens it up, and she opens up the coffee machine, and she pulls out the the coffee filter of all the grounds, and he goes, yeah, it was a piece of crap. It was just like the way he's lying. And then she goes, why are we lying today? And then when they go into the toaster, they're trying to find the toaster that has the engraving. He goes into the back, and they've got these stacks of toaster boxes, and he just does his normal line where he goes, holy crap. Yeah. All right, so again, there's another Raymond episode. That's not the one I'm talking about, but Everybody Loves Raymond, the Christmas present of the DVD porn machine.
I mean, do you remember what year this episode might have come out in?
So I'm thinking this is early 2000s. One, because it's a DVD player. So I would probably say 2002.
Which would make sense since DVD players were still more of a high-end thing. My family didn't get our first DVD player until 2005. And I mean, because at this point, a DVD player is a great gift. And I guess ironically, it'd be seen as a great gift now because the amount of people trying to go back to physical media, which, man, I'm glad to see that. But the fact that again, Marie would just take this chance to try to put down her daughter-in-law, which, as we know, happens in every episode, but it's hilarious. So I will welcome any scene involving those two.
If my wife is watching, and she's not, but if she is, a 4K DVD player, it was some 4K discs would be an amazing Christmas gift. So we'll just put that out there. Anyways, number 4, Everybody Loves Raymond. Number 3, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, The Pledge of Allegiance, Grace. So I said I had a scene on here. This was the scene that made me laugh out loud so much in the theaters, because I saw this movie in the theaters when it came out. I was in 7th grade. I remember seeing it in 7th grade because my history teacher said, I came and watched this movie over the weekend. It is hysterical. You guys should all go see it. I remember him telling us that, and we talked about this movie. He talked about this movie, and I couldn't wait to go see it. I hadn't seen any of the other National Lampoons. I don't believe so before that. If I did, I probably shouldn't have. But this, I remember going to see in the theaters. I remember watching this, and when she starts saying the Pledge of Allegiance, when she's supposed to start praying, first off, hysterical. Number 2, what is it? Her name? Aunt
Betty.
And they're like, this might be her last Christmas and stuff like that. And she says, you want to say grace? And he goes, you want to say grace? Grace, she died last year or 10 years ago or whatever. And he goes, the blessing, like, I love it. And then she starts doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they all stand and put their hand over their heart to say, it's hysterical. I think it's funnier than the rant, but that's just my opinion.
Which is understandable, and because I think any family can also relate to having at least one member of the family who's not quite there mentally as they used to be, and yet they're still a prominent fixture. And for something like this, to have this whole Pledge of Allegiance done, it oddly makes me nostalgic for my days in school because, I mean, if you were to ask some random person on the street to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, either they're just going to be like, I haven't done that since school, but I think it's because of this movie. A lot of people are able to remember what the Pledge of Allegiance is. And plus, I even like that little bit where, as the rest of the family starts to just go along with the Pledge of Allegiance, everybody except Aunt Betty says the two words "under God," since that had not been added into the Pledge of Allegiance till a little later. And yet, I know the scene still gets a lot of humor out of me because it's another moment where, having seen it in the theaters again last year, as soon as she started saying the Pledge of Allegiance, a good chunk of my theater also started reciting the Pledge of Allegiance too.
Yeah, it's Aunt Edna. I knew I didn't think Betty was right. It's Aunt Edna.
You're right. It's no, wait. Ed Edna's from the first Vacation movie.
Oh, really?
Uh, at least I think so.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Because I know it's Uncle Lewis and I mean I'm about
Bethany.
90.
Aunt
Oh, Bethany.
Bethany.
It was
All
in the
right.
B category.
We're awful.
And,
We're
also
awful
just
Christmas people.
and just to refer back to that moment where we were thinking about how this could be our last Christmas. There's even a direct line where, as soon as that dog Snotza got into the garbage and Clark and Ellen got to clean it up, and Lewis is telling him to run into the living room and get me my stogie, to which Ellen says, "This could be his last Christmas," and he's like, "He keeps it up, it's gonna be his last Christmas."
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's yeah. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite scenes. Dennis says my first DVD was Face Off. I think I had that on DVD too. I don't know if that was my first. My first DVD was Braveheart. I remember buying that. Yeah, I ran out and bought that. Mostly because it's like, well, if we're gonna have a nice, high res, DVD. I guess it was high res back then. That was a movie I wanted to get. So, but that was the first one I bought. So,
Not
all right,
that nice.
Yep.
Because I was going to say too that my first DVDs when I got them in 2005 were both Elf and Austin Powers: The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yes, those. I had those as well. So, all right, number 2. How I Met Your Mother, saying Grinch to Ted's family. Have you seen this episode?
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I actually have not watched any of How I Met Your Mother, even though I've had people that I have friends that have watched it, and I've been meaning to get around to this one to binge.
This is an episode you need to watch. It's dirty, but it's not dirty because unless you know exactly what what Grinch means, it's still funny. So the basic is Lily and Ted are talking. Lily had ran off on oh man, what's his name? Oh man, I should have written this down. I know, I can't remember his name. This is bad. Oh, How I Met Your Mother. And the character that I'm thinking of is Marshall. Why couldn't think of that?
Marshall.
All right. So Lily and Marshall broke up. Lily leaves, and it's Christmas. They get back together, but Ted is very angry at Lily because she just abandoned Marshall. Marshall was a big wreck, and he had to console him and deal with that. And it's Christmas, and he says, "Oh, look, I found our old answering machine. Let me put it up." He puts on the answering machine. There's a message from Ted to Marshall, and it's like, "Hey, you got to get over it. She's such a Grinch." Now, when he says and the voiceover of Ted says, I didn't say Grinch. Just like fudge, you don't say fudge. Grinch stands for a pseudonym
Another
for
word.
a very, very bad word that you never say. Okay? I think you might know which one I'm talking about. It's not the B word. The really bad word that you don't want to say. Yeah. You get it?
Yep.
So she gets very angry. She steals Christmas. She takes down all the decorations, and because the episode's called "How Lily Stole Christmas," and her and Ted fight and argue. Ted agrees to leave, and so that Marshall can have a really good Christmas with her. So she puts all the decorations back up and stuff. It's a hysterical episode. But then Marshall's like, "Well, where's Ted?" And she goes to explain it to him, and then he shows her the Christmas present he got her and how Ted gave her the idea. So Lily feels bad now and says, we should find Ted. It's Christmas. They go to Ted's house, Ted's cousin's house, because that's where he's staying. And his family is very, very religious, to the point of where he goes, I got you presents. And they're all like God's love. And he goes, no, real presents, man. And so his nieces and nephews are, they don't accept gifts or presents. And so he's unhappy being there. Lily shows up at the house with the rest of the gang and apologizes to Ted with a beer in his hand. And they're talking, and and Ted goes, I'm so sorry. And she goes, aren't you sick of apologizing? And he goes, yes. And she goes, well, I was kind of a Grinch. And his nephew is behind him, and he goes, what's a Grinch? And everyone's like shocked. And then he goes over to his mom. And he says, Mom, what's a Grinch? And she spits out her drink, and all the kids start going, Grinch, 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 Grinch. It's hysterical because you know what they're supposed to actually be saying, but it's censored because obviously it's on CBS. Mm-hmm. Hysterical episode. It is one of the greatest TV Christmas episodes of all time. I know it's dirty. I like funny, dirty things. I'm like I said, I'm not going to apologize. I'm 49 with the humor of a 14-year-old, but, yeah, How I Met Your Mother, hysterical episode, hysterical series. You should watch it.
Absolutely. In fact, if anything, I'm probably going to have to check out this specific episode tonight to get the better context. So.
Yeah. I mean, I just spoiled everything that happens, but there is some funny moments. And actually, when you see it happen, I want to hear what your reaction is. In fact, you should just film your reaction to it, because I think you'll be laughing. So
okay,
show your wife too. If she hasn't seen it. So.
Definitely, I will definitely show this to her later on, and
yep.
I'm excited to. Oh, looks like we got another comment.
It's epic. So Dennis agrees with me.
Great. It's epic.
It's epic. Oh. So number 1. Will it be as epic as How I Met Your Mother? And I actually don't know if everyone will agree. But number 1 funniest scene from a Christmas movie or TV show. Friends, The Holiday Armadillo.
Okay. So I will admit that I haven't seen a lot of Friends either, but I have seen this episode, and it is a good one.
Yes.
Friends is one of those shows that I'm a little more amused by than necessarily I find like laugh out loud funny. Mm-hmm. But I will give this one an exception. It is funny.
Yes. So I'm a huge Friends fan. I'm in that age range where Friends was essential Thursday night viewing. You had to watch every episode. I mean, it debuted again when I was in college, and this is again maybe going back to my time. Friends was what you watched in college. It debuted, everyone loved it. And then even when, this is near the end of the series run, and it was still amazing. And it's Ross, who is half Jewish, and he wants to teach his son Ben about Judaism and Hanukkah. And he knows that Ben won't pay attention to him unless maybe if he's dressed as Santa, he will. But he can't get a Santa costume, and the only costume he can get is the armadillo costume. So he shows up to the apartment and says, "I'm the holiday armadillo. I am your Jewish friend." It's hysterical. And again, it's all the actor who plays Ross is so good in this. It is so funny. And then he's telling the story, and Chandler comes in, and Santa Claus, and then they have this like discussion back and forth, and he's like, "You should probably leave. He's not going to pay attention to you now because Santa's here." And then Joey walks in as Superman, and it's just the most it's absurd, but it is it's sometimes the best parts of Friends is the most absurd parts. And I think it is probably one of the funniest Christmas television episodes. And again, I love Christmas movies, but I think I'm more of a television episode guy because I probably watch more TV than I watch sitcoms and stuff than I ever do movies. Although I love tons of movies and stuff, but I think that's why my list is heavy on TV shows. There was a couple other TV shows I didn't include. Because I thought, well, man, I should probably put movies on here too. But Friends, Holiday Armadillo.
Hey, it's a good choice. It's been a little while since I've seen this one, but I remember this being one of the rare times I did laugh out loud watching Friends. And I actually don't have a lot more to add to the Holiday Armadillo one. I guess I'll have to do another episode of my podcast where I do cover the Friends holiday episodes.
Yes. I plan on doing something like that too. The problem with that is I do visual stuff, so it always gets copyright. Anytime I put Friends on my channel, it's just incredibly difficult. But let's review the list real quick. This is Robert's list. Number 7 is Love Actually, A Christmas Story, Frasier, Muppet Christmas Carol, Home Alone, Blackadder's Christmas Carol, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. My list was Elf, South Park, Home Alone 2, Everybody Loves Raymond, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, How I Met Your Mother, and Friends. So we had a lot of people watching earlier, not so many now, but that's okay. Yeah. If you are watching and you want to vote, whose list had the better Christmas moments? Well, like I said, don't have a lot of good prizes, but you got Christmas cred, which goes a long way in our group, So while we're doing that, Robert, tell everybody about your podcast.
Okay, well, I host the Behind the Bells podcast, where I will take a classic Christmas movie or television special, and I usually take 2 episodes to go into the whole behind-the-scenes story of how the idea was conceived, how it was written, how it eventually got greenlit into being made, filmed, and how it was seen once it got put out. Like, for example, I did a big 2-parter on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, where the first part went into the creation of the song itself and the story before that, which itself is fascinating. Then the second part went into how the whole thing was produced as the famous Rankin Bass special, how they managed to get a guy like Burl Ives to become a part of the whole thing, and how the whole thing was a big international collaboration between Canadians, the Japanese, and the English all coming together to put in the classic special. Mm-hmm. Or something like when I did a 2-parter on Ernest Saves Christmas, when I talked about how Jim Varney became one of the earliest actors to essentially become a viral star because of his Ernest commercials, and how the movie ended up becoming the first major movie shot at the Disney MGM studios when they were trying to make that a running thing.
Yeah. So I do love your podcast. I discovered it very early on when I started doing this. And, I do remember listening to your Ernest podcast and stuff. Everybody is really good. He goes into a lot of factual data. The one thing I responded to with yours is it's not just opinions and talking about a show. You give facts about it so we can hear about it. You produce them really well. I think it's great. I look forward to hearing more. Let's get more episodes out. So start writing.
Of course.
Start researching and writing. Yeah. So,
because because I will say, because even though I haven't gotten as many episodes out this year as I would have, I promise that more content is coming this year, including my long-awaited Part 2 episode on Frosty the Snowman and that classic Rankin Bass special.
Well, if you ever want me to come on your podcast and we could talk about the Frasier episodes, I'm all for it. It sounds like you and I could probably have a 8-hour, two-part, 8 hours long episode where we just talk about the Frasier Christmas episodes. I'd be up for it. So, all right.
I'd be down for that too.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll have to talk off air. So, all right, we got a few votes. Both lists are great.
All right.
So it's 1-1. And everybody wins in this scenario. So I guess we're got a tie because nobody else has said anything. The Christmas Cousins join just as we're ending. Come on, Christmas Cousins. Should have been on earlier. But anyways, this was a lot of fun. Hopefully people will catch this and watch this. And if you have a thought, you can always leave a comment on the video, and I can let Robert know who wins in the end. So I got a couple of things to promo. All right, hold on. Both lists are great. I vote for Joe's hair. Fantastic again tonight, as always. So thank you, guys. So a few videos that you should be checking out. The Trope Count featuring Deck the Hallmarks brand, where he gave a good synopsis of the 3 wise men and a baby. Check that episode out. I would love to see this get a lot more views. My latest video that is live right now is The Year in Christmas 1981. I've been counting down the 80s decades, starting with 89. I'm now on 81. I have 1 year left, and then I'm going to start 1990. 1981, I'll be honest, is not a great year for Christmas stuff. There is some fun things to watch, though, and I encourage you to continue watching this. I appreciate everybody who has watched and left comments. Everybody seems to like this series a lot, and I'm definitely going to continue doing that. So I have a video in progress where I show what happens when you meet Christmas cousin Seth. Yes, that's him in the blue. Myself and Lee traveled to Michigan and met Christmas cousin Seth. That's a lot of fun. But while we were there, I visited a location. Anyone have a guess of what it would be? And what is going on with it is the question everybody should be asking. Because that is when you see the episode, you'll be kind of like, oh, that's not what that looks like. Anyways, that's coming up soon. If you should know it if you see what's in my hand. But I did do a whole entire filming locations for that movie, and it was on my bucket list to go visit. So you don't know, right, Robert? Come on, you don't know what it is, do you?
Well, the top point in your hand may give me a good clue here.
So a few things, other things. Carly, looking forward to the 90s. I am actually looking forward to it as well. Especially early 90s, I think is really going to be fun. The closer we get to the 2000 decade, the more and more Christmas stuff is going to be coming out. Dennis asks, where's the 70s be at? After the 90s, I am going to go to the 70s, and then count backwards. I'm really afraid to do the 2000s and on. I will eventually get there. It's going to be years for that before that happens. But I don't know how I'm going to handle it, because think of like 2020, the year at Christmas 2020. There was 50 Hallmark movies. Like, I don't even know how to begin to deal with that. So that is something that so that is something I have to do. So it is going to be 90s, then the 70s, and we'll figure it out from there. And then this Cousin Seth video will be epic. So it will be. Robert, are you familiar with the Christmas Cousins?
I do know them. I unfortunately haven't listened to them a whole lot, but I do like their show, and I would absolutely encourage anybody who has not listened to the show to go listen to it.
That's what it is. Thanks for the fun episode. Thumbprint cookies are baking now. So Pepper Tree Villa, go ahead and overnight me some. I'll let you know how they taste on your broadcast tomorrow. So, well, Robert, this is a lot of fun. You and I, you were my first guest to ever be on my show, and it's good to have you back. We'll have more discussions. Let's talk about Frasier. Let's talk about, what else did we say we were going to talk about a lot? National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We could talk all about that. I did say I was going to think about what the funniest scene is from A Christmas Carol with the Muppets. I think I have to go with Dennis. I think he said it was the scene where the rats put the Hawaiian shirts on, and because they're afraid to get mad at Scrooge. That's the funniest scene. I couldn't think of anything but more, because as soon as the ghosts come, it starts getting a little serious. There's some funny things and stuff, but
which is understandable. With the Hawaiian scene essentially feeling the most Muppet out of the whole Muppet movie here.
Oh, you know what? I just changed my mind. All right. Oh. It's not Fezziwig. It's Fozziwig. Just the name of that, and then it's Fozzie as the character. That's the funniest part.
But you gotta admit, I almost feel like that they came up with the pun first, and then essentially made this whole movie just so they can tell that joke.
It's still the best joke. So it's the funniest moment. At least that's what I think. So anyways, thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching, for those who stuck around. I guess it's a tie, but we'll find out later on in the comments below. So if you are watching this not live and you want to say whose list was better, Robert and I are, we have a little friendly competition going on. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you for everybody for watching. Check out 1981, new video coming out later this week. And then obviously check out Behind the Bells podcast.
Behind the Bells.
Bells podcast.
Yeah, which you can find on Spotify. You can find that on Apple Music. And if all else fails, I do have a YouTube channel as well where all my episodes do get uploaded.
Yes. So check out Robert's podcast. I guarantee you will find it very factual and fun. And everybody, thank you for watching. I'm the Christmas Aficionado. And remember, stay off the naughty list. Stay on for a minute.